So, two banks and a disruptor. So it's going to be fun listening to you. So let's start with the banks, please. I have been in financial industry more than 10 years, more than a decade. I manage funds, some portfolios. So I'm a sort of banker. So when they insult bankers, I'm just a bit upset. So it's your day. So please tell me, the financial industry is going somewhere, that's for sure. And I'm listening to all those fintech guys, and they are very clever. And I think they are showing the way the business is going. So from your point of view, as a bank, how do you see the digitalization of financial services?
Historically, we are, as a banks, we have a good systems on the digitalization, and we are one of the major accelerators of these ones. But today, we are also talking about the fintechs and competition, and these areas really excite us. Some banks trying to be distant. Some banks trying to be really in the middle of this environment. So every bank's expectation from these changes different. But personally, and my bank really believes this concept a lot because at the end of the day, the winner from these approaches will be the customers. Currently, we have very good system on the front end. We got a very good system on the back end. So we are already providing lots of good user experience solutions to the customers, but this is a race without finish line. So all the fintechs and all the banks get together really brings much more value for the customers.
Are you investing in this business? I mean, digitalization?
A lot. As Turkey invests technology late, so we are, for the last 10 to 15 years, we are really getting benefit of this. If you compare with the European banks and Turkish banks, we are really providing the cutting-edge services. So this is the luckiest part. On the other hand, now we are investing to develop these fintechs. There are some ways. For example, we are trying to be intermediary roles. For example, our private banking customers and startups from our digital ecosystem, we have platform to get together them. On the other hand, for our needs, we open some calls. For example, we lately have a call. We gave 4 subjects. Many startups applied, and 2 of them we already signed. And having their solutions, using their solutions for our needs. And we also enrich them to this.
I see. By the way, so when you say digitalization, is it the same thing that we're looking into? So as Turkish Ekonomi Bank, how do you perceive digitalization in financial services? Is that just that, as a customer, I'm getting everything online? Is that digitalization? Or do you see it from a wider view?
This is only one part. We've seen the digitalization as 3 main parts. The first one is the front end, customer side. The second is processes and product side. And the third one is the much more important one is the digital mindset. All the employees of the bank should have the digital mindset for finding solutions, problems that face by using the digital. And from this approach, we really need to work with some fintechs, some startups to accelerate this one. So we are really open for them. I want to add one thing. I think this is important. Some banks prefer this one, some banks not. But we are going to a place that's an open banking. This is for sure. On the other hand, every country and every bank has different clock speeds to reach that. European Union take an action on this subject, PSD2. They want from the banks open their systems to third parties. Some banks seeing this as a threat, so just fulfill the requirement, very limited one. Some banks seeing this as an opportunity and then open very widely. So this approach, this mindset differentiation will create real differences on the banking environment. As a bank, we prefer on the side that encouraging this atmosphere.
So let's ask to the other banks. So do you see the same thing as well when you look at the financialization and digitalization?
Yeah, we are investing for digital services for last 20 years actually. This year it's the 20th celebration of our internet banking and our digital banking, and we are continuing, of course, to invest very much on this area. I want to start with some numbers from Garanti to mention also the current station of digital banking at Garanti. We are today managing the biggest digital customer base in Turkey, which is for 5.1 million digital active customers, and 4.1 million of them are mobile users, and approximately 3 million are using only mobile channel, which means they are not going to branches, they are not using even internet banking, they are using only mobile channel, and of course for cash needs they are using our ATMs. It's a very huge customer base to manage it, of course, and also 92% of all the transactions, of non-cash transactions, are occurring in digital channels. It's a very high number for digital channels. And also on the digital sales ratio, we reach 30% of all the sales are occurring in digital channels. It's also a very big number. How do we achieve this? We have actually three main strategies. First of all, of course, user experience. We aim always to achieve the best user experience in digital channels and to solve pain points of customers, and it has great effect to our penetration and these numbers, of course. And the second thing is product availability in digital channels and product digitization, as Deniz mentioned. It's very important. Besides digitizing the traditional product, our aim is always to design end-to-end digital products from scratch. It's important for our digital channels. I want to give an example about it. We launched a digital-only car insurance product. We designed it from scratch. We didn't just put the traditional one to our digital channels. We first started with a customer research. How can we achieve the best user experience? What are the pain points? How can we integrate the flow to digital channels? And then we launched our product. The digital sales ratio was, before the launch, only 2% in the bank in total. After the launch, we have reached 48% digital sales ratio with our car insurance product in digital channels.
Very impressive.
It means if you design your products end-to-end digital and special for digital channels, you can get customers, you can get digital sales, and you can really digitalize the product. It's very important. And the third strategy is, of course, and the most important one, I think, digital transformation. It's not enough to design digital channels, digital products, or to build a digital department in the bank and lead it. You should transform all the processes, all the procedures, all branches, employees, everything in the channel, you should digitalize. This is the most important thing. And our main strategies are these three to digitalize the financial services, actually.
I see one number just circulating in my mind was 80% of your users never go to branches of mobile users. You just mentioned. Am I right?
3 million of digital customers.
Digital customers. So they're not going to branches. So they know Garanti Bank as a digital application or something like that. That might be either good or bad. So because if you just stay behind those other banks or in the digital services, you might just lose the customer. But on top of it, if you're running ahead, you might win more. So how do you see that? Is that a threat for you, or is that the way that it should be going after this?
It's an advantage, of course, a challenge for us, because they are using only mobile channel. Then you are facing these customers only in mobile. You cannot face-to-face interaction with them. They are not using other channels because other channels can be more mature. You should do mature your mobile channel. You put all the transactions, all the inquiries, all the products to mobile channel, because you can only interaction with the mobile to these customers. Therefore, it's a challenge, but we launched our mobile in 2012. And our mobile banking is really mature. All the transactions, approximately 99% of the transactions they are occurring in online banking can also be done in mobile banking. And we have a lot of features for digital sales, for user experience, etc. Therefore, we use it as an advantage, but of course, it's a challenging thing to have this big number of customers only in mobile.
So it's the general outlook of banks in Turkey generally, Mohammed. So I don't know what you think, but maybe you can tell us about a bit your company, because you are the CEO of One Global. But so I would like everyone to know what you're really doing concretely.
Okay, One Global. Thank you for being with you on this exciting event. One Global is a digital innovation company started back in 2004. We started in value-added services with a vision called Trio Vision, conversion between telecom, IT, and media, and offering it within 3 years in 3 continents. We launched this vision in 2006. 2009, we come up with the vision fulfilled using value-added services and mobile operator and content management services. In 2010, we said we need another vision. So what we were seeing and envisioning that this industry not anymore going to be in control of mobile operators. This industry is going to be IB. So in order to go IB, so IB, it has a totally different mindset, different customer experience, different way of offering the services. So we decided to come up with a new vision, which is called One Vision, and this is the company called One. By 2020, which is a 10 years vision from 2010, we need to become a digital life service provider globally. And in 4 main business lines. We are having a multi-vertical platform that connects mobile healthcare, mobile tourism, mobile content, and mobile financial. And from the mobile financial vertical...
I think we should change your headset with the microphone.
From the mobile financial vertical, we started our Fintech platform that is PayTech at the start, payment technology. We enabled acceptance of debit cards using apps with bill payment and top-ups. Before that, there is a tragedy happened to us. We launched in 2008 in Sudan, a complete virtual bank, without bank, and without mobile operator. It was Nokia phones, Java application on those phones, and distributed virtual agencies, human. Those humans were using them as cash in and cash out agents. So, and we went with an ad inside the newspaper and said, drop your job and make your fortune. So people left their job, get the indemnity, the last securities, and they deposited with us as an assured balance, and we put a credit, and they start transmitting money. We started with money transfer services. In 1 month, we were having a float of $250,000 with 100 agents only. So central bank act aggressively on us and said, this is cannot be. We have to stop that. So when we've been stopped, we asked to meet with the governor, and we sat with the governor and said, why? And he said, because you are the governor next year. I said, no, I'm not. This is your job, and I have my job. I said, listen, Mohammed, you are having $250,000 in your network with 100 agents. What is your forecast? I said, 4,000 agents. I said, how much this will be? So the whole liquidity will be under you, inside your network, without any monetary. And this is my role as a governor, monetary, of liquidity inside the country. So we realized the effect of the regulation. So we decided now to make a regulation-friendly platform. So we shut down our platform for 1 year. We sat, restructure everything, and we come up with BlackBerry. So we started in BlackBerry. We said, we will not do remittance. Let us do bill payment. So we started bill payment, accepting debit cards directly with the switch. And 1 year later, switch stopped us and said, listen, you should work with bank. We went to the bank, and they were laughing. You want to do it, huh? You want to disrupt us? I said, okay, we want to do it. They charge us premium, very premium. We accepted, because we knew, we are believing. We launched our service. We grown from 5,000 users to 20,000 users. Then we went to the bank and said, listen, other banks are calling us. Are you going to go down with the fees or? So then the relation started with the bank. We start building the relation. They understand us. We understand them. We see that, and this is what we need to encourage over here. We need to have this collaborative dialogue happening between the bank and the fintech. They've been around since long time. We don't know anything about financial industry, by the way. It's all incremental knowledge. It's all experience. I'm a computer engineer. Has nothing to do with finance or health or tourism. This is come by the dialogue. Today we are in 16 countries. We have 2 digital banks launched, also in assistance of banks. The banks are only licensed and escrow, where the liquidity, the actual money is staying inside the bank. And acceptance, we are issuing completely from the app, digitally. You don't need to go to a bank. Bank doesn't know you. We don't know you. We know your behavior. So, and this is very important about the digital identity. So we create for you a digital identity, and we track your behavior to understand how you are thinking and how you want to perform inside the platform. Today we are in 2 million users transacting in our platform, marketplace, buying tickets, doctor appointments, and content downloads. This collaborative verticals created for us the demand, actually. When we went to the merchant and talked to them and a bank in order to come up with us, and I said, listen, this is an augmented reality. So what about going completely digital and see what will happen? Even our advertisement, we said, let us start with Twitter when it was launched. So it was a complete digital experience. And from that, we understood that where we are going, where we are heading, how digital banking has to be
So let's put a
done.
comma there, because where you're going is, I want to really know, but on the second and the third question. So where it is going is another question and very important. So let me just turn to the banks. So that's a very good story, a concrete story, happening in another country, but it's very real. So maybe you would like to elaborate something about how banks see fintechs. That's very important, because you just mentioned about cooperation, or is it competition, one of our subjects. How do you see the relation between fintechs and banks?
Both parties are currently learning each other and creating now trying to get the middle. Banks getting at the beginning, many banks really afraid of the fintechs. Not really afraid, but everybody talks about that because they think that they lose some profits to these companies. On the other hand, if you ask the same question to fintechs, what do you expect to get the biggest share from the bank's profit? They said no. So now, just after having these perceptions, now everybody's get together at the middle. So increasing competition will bring the real value, especially for the customers. And maybe today's subject, API competition, may be another good revenue sources for the banks, because we got some compliance system, loan assessing parts. On the other hand, really know how about the risk management. So fintechs needs those abilities, those skill sets. Maybe it will be create another revenue streams. So competition will be definitely we have. I don't know how much does it take, but I'm really see good initiations, good examples to have this one.
So the same topic, but from another angle maybe. So as Garanti Bank, how you're seeing this process between fintechs and banks, and also maybe you can elaborate on the view in Turkey. Not only Garanti Bank, not TEB, but all the banking system. How do you see a banking system interacting with fintechs in Turkey?
Mm-hmm. We're always on the collaboration side, of course, and we want to support this fintech ecosystem to enlarge this ecosystem. It's important for us. But of course, to build a partnership and to develop a business is something different, because banks are not NGOs, of course. They are economic financial institutions. And to find a profitable thing is very important to build this partnership, of course, with fintechs. We heard a lot of things today about banks are very strong, banks are very technologically advanced. They are really they are very strong in banks in Turkey, and also regulation is protecting also banks in some areas against some disruption. But of course, banks are investing this area for tens of years, and they are really capable of doing technological advancements to build these frameworks. They are very strong. But also, fintechs have really important advantages. First of all, they can concentrate on tiny piece of experiences in these huge financial systems. And for banks, for such a complex structures, it's not always easy to concentrate on a tiny experience in financial institution, in financial system, and to build the real good experience and to fulfill the customer needs. It's not always easy. In that area, to collaborate with a fintech for this tiny experience is really advantageous for a bank. Time to market, and for efficiency, of course. To not build this from the scratch, to integrate this experience with the fintech, it's very advantageous for the banks. It's the first thing. Second thing is to open the products and services as APIs to third parties is also very important for a bank, because you can reach new customers. You can serve customers for third parties. You can gain customers with this way. You can reach other people with these APIs. It's also the second strategy of this fintech collaboration. We also have an accelerator program for startups, not only for fintechs, which is called Garanti Partners. It's a non-profit organization in the bank. We are managing this platform as digital banking, and also with the collaboration of our SME business line. In this platform, we accept startups in early stages, and we support them with office space, mentorship, marketing supports, networking supports, to build business with Garanti, to give a priority to build the business with Garanti, and also with BBVA, a global expansion opportunity. We have also this support because we do not see fintechs as threats, as Deniz said. We see this an opportunity to enlarge the financial ecosystem, to reach new customers, to enlarge our transaction volumes, and to enlarge our digital sales.
I see. Then is maybe a short assessment on the European banks as well, because as far as I know, Turkish banks are strong. Yes, from a capital-wise, yes, they are strong. And also on the digitalization part, they have been, looking for this thing for many years. That's for sure. And also, I know that European banks, the US banks, many bankers have been fired since the financial crisis, like 500,000 people. So this might be a threat, or they will be competing with the new guys on the block. So maybe you can elaborate on the European banks as well. Do they see this as a threat? Are they getting used to this? So what is their view?
The main difference is coming from the customer experience side, because Turkish banks invest technology heavily in the 90s. Nobody in the current team, for example, they just know the instant money transfers. Nobody knows the other side. But it's not the case in Europe. It's not the case in, especially in the continental Europe. Everybody talking about the real-time money transfers with fintechs. So they need to change. Their customers really pushes them. Because of this, they invest this area a lot. 2 years ago, Turkish banks, nearly all the Turkish banks, are providing very good experience on the digital channels. Very huge functionality. You can do whatever you want, nearly. But it's not the case in European banks. So they really need the experience providing by the fintechs for their customers. And they believe and they accelerate. Currently, we are in a very good position in the competition, global competition. But we need to invest much more on the cloud side, much more on the fintech side. Honestly, we talked a lot, but the number of fintechs are very limited in the country. So we need to increase this one. We need to provide an environment to work, really work together, much more together with the banks. Otherwise, we will lose the competition to this, to the others.
Okay, Mohammed, so that's the view from a point of European banks and in Turkey as well. So maybe you can share your experience in the Gulf and other African countries, because I know that you're building systems for the banks. Maybe some concrete steps that you've just taken from this point of view.
Okay, I'm gonna increase the heat a bit. We are regulated, so by Central Bank of Sudan, Central Bank of Bahrain. We are also regulated by Central Bank of Egypt. So we have regulation. In Europe, we are regulated with a certified e-money license provider. So we are also adhering to the regulation. We invested in security, so our data centers and data kept in PCI DSS 3.2. So we are already investing in infrastructure and security. What we can see over here that banks are not realizing the power of the fintech companies. It has to be a true cooperation. Fintech doesn't look to the customer of the bank. Actually, they are trying to increase the customer base. If you go, the final settlement actually is happening inside the banks. Whatever you are doing in the stages is going deep, you end up with a bank. So what is happening in Europe today, and the open banking command order is coming, data of the customer will be shared, which is the true asset for the bank. Today, when we started doing the digital KYC, full digital KYC, Central Bank said, what you are doing, this is, you need to have a signature, you need to have this person physically in front of you and get him signed in order to open this account. What we did that, we built an API with the bank, and we said, listen, Mr. Bank, any customer will onboard from us, from our platform, we will rate this customer to do some specific functionalities. In order to do a certain functionality, we are pushing this profile to you. You already did KYC before. Why to repeat it? They come up, no, wait a minute, there is a compliance. All right, fine. We completed a complete digital compliance module that is having the CFT, anti-money laundering, sanction list from United Nations, entities, people. And we integrated to our digital bank risk and compliance team. They love it. They get a visibility on all the accounts. They can't stop what they want. And then we launched 2 patches. We sent, bank is verifying, and returning back. So actually it's happening with us today, before this open banking is happening, because banks realize that if they don't cooperate from now, and they always say, we have the deep pocket. I said, listen, my dear, you have the deep pocket. You have all the technologies in the whole industry. You have what you have, but you don't have the culture. Digital culture is totally different. You have to change your people. You have to train them. You have to change the whole infrastructure of the country, actually. You need to start looking into the university. Look to the students, what they are studying today. Is this applicable for 10 years ahead? Or are you screwing their future? You have to look into what is this industry looking for. I don't want to screw your third question, what is going to happen. We'll come to it. But I see that fintechs are very strong.
I'm seeing what's going to happen.
Alibaba in China, you can see it today, bought MoneyGram, the biggest money transfer company, after a challenge to get a license. They got frustrated. What they did, they bought a company. In India, the same thing. They didn't get a license. They bought a company. So M&A will play a big role on this. Fintechs will work. Investors, they are hungry. Venture capitalists, they are hungry. They are putting a lot of money in a very, very advanced technologies like blockchain, and nobody knows what is blockchain. Everybody's putting money because it is coming. Blockchain, the simple definition for it is to do KYC. A stranger, you need to know the stranger, but in the digital world. I don't need to see you physically. I don't need your data. But I need to identify you in order to move assets. And then I'm rewarding you with this virtual currency called Bitcoins. Imagine if the central bank said, I'm not gonna print any more banknotes. I'm gonna turn everything to e-money. What will happen to banks? If they are not started from the beginning and transformed completely to adhere to this, what is happening, they will be in trouble because virtual accounts that already we are having and funding via the bank not anymore needed to be funded. Your salary actually is moved as an e-money to the virtual account. And then acceptance is happening in all channels. That's it. So we are seeing a big reform is happening, a big disruption is happening. Lots of smart banks are taking the wave, is coming and serving. I can see fintechs are accelerators for banks. You are saying these banks has to be, central banks has to be incubators. This is the new roles I can see. Central banks has to become an incubator for those fintechs. These fintechs will come up out of it to accelerate banks. So it's a collaborative environment. This is the way I see the competition and the collaborative environment that has to be done in this industry.
I see. Okay, so last 2 minutes, maybe you can elaborate on the future of this integration. How long is it going to take? And if you maybe you can pick up from where Mohammed left, what is it going to be? You might be answering the question as well.
Okay, I can add transaction data owner. Think about the customer owns the transaction data, not the banks. And by the regulation, you have to open these data to the third parties when your customer requested it, and it will be totally different environment than today. So it will bring the
just
real...
in a few months. Right?
And not a few months for Europe. For us, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 years period, but it will be happen definitely. And then real competition will come up and brings the value for the customers.
Or maybe you would like to have some final say on the subject.
I think we are going to build a really large ecosystem with fintechs and with banks, and banks will always key players of this ecosystem. I think with this experience, with this strong infrastructure, fraud mechanism, all the products and services, but fintechs can be a good partner in this ecosystem who can do the best thing in one experience will be in this ecosystem, and they will build the whole financial world, I think.
Thank you for your contribution. So we have time just for 1 or 2 questions, if you might. So can we have the sir on the left side, please?
Hello, my name is Aran. I work at Parachute.com. Parachute is an online bookkeeping software for SMEs in Turkey. So we actually integrated with one of the Turkish banks using the API, and we would like to do so with more of the banks in Turkey. It's going to take some time, but we'll get there. What we're trying to understand from the bank's point of view, what is the motivation behind the bank's thinking? What is it that you guys want to reach so that we can make the product better fit with your motivations? Thank you.
We just launched our open platform in last month, and we have put as a start 2 APIs. One is informational services, but one is transactional, peer-to-peer money transfer, and you can also use it as a payment tool. And we are going to invest to this open platform, and we will put lots of products and services as APIs to this platform. The next thing will be most probably the loan product, loan application product, also insurance product. We will put also these to our APIs open platform, and we will continue to develop and invest to this platform. And because our target is always to open our services and products to third parties, to fintechs, to enlarge this ecosystem. We are not seeing this ecosystem as a threat.
That's good. One last question, maybe the chance of asking the last question belongs to the sir on my right.
Hi. Mohammed, I think you also get the experience from telecommunication sector, then financial sector, isn't it? You got the experience from telecommunication, then you moved to the financial sector.
Exactly.
Yeah.
IT, telecommunication, then.
Then I want to give an example and also information, and also maybe you can mention to the banks. Because in telecommunication sector, without their sharing their profits with the third parties, they became only the barrier, as you know. So they are being exhausted. Now the banks are afraid from the sharing their profits. So because of this, they are saying that we are the boss, so we are not sharing any profits with you. Just you can be the only partner as a fintechs. So without sharing any profits, I'm afraid that they will be like a barrier of like a telecommunication sector.
Yeah, but they are not sharing their current profit. It's a new profit that's coming.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
exactly.
this is something you are making, and you have to be rewarded.
And also they need to mind shift, I think. They need to shift their minds.
Exactly.
Otherwise, like a
culture change,
telecommunication
yeah.
sector,
It's a mindset and culture
they
change.
will face.
Okay, thank you. So I think the consensus has been reached between you. Thank you. It was
Thank
very
you
good
very much.
for listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Okay, so we're due for a coffee break. Let's meet in here in 20 minutes. In 20 minutes.